welcome back to MTR Network Movie Trailer Reviews. This is your host, Chris, and Phenom here. And we are here to review a movie that a lot of, again, I'm trying to be nice like Phenom was. It's a movie that a lot of people were actually excited to see for some reason. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Robbed of his birthright, Arthur comes up the hard way in the back alleys of the city. But once he pulls the sword from the stone, he is forced to acknowledge his true legacy, whether he likes it or not. This is directed by Guy Ritchie. It's also written by Guy Ritchie and Joby Harold. It stars Charlie Hunnam, Astrid Frisbee, Jude Law. Was it Dimanj Hansu, even though he's barely in the he's in the film a lot, but doesn't really talk or do anything. Eric Bana, for some reason, I feel sorry for Eric Bana. I really do.
Eric hasn't had a good film in a long time, so I really don't feel sorry for him when I see him in films.
Like, you're right, but I feel like ever since, he did the Incredible Hulk, which was bad. Oh, not Incredible Hulk. He did Hulk, which was bad. But then he did that ever since Hannah, yo. Ever since Hannah. He just has not been given anything to do.
He never reached Jackman level. That's what it is.
You say what now?
He never reached his Hugh Jackman level.
At all. Like, it did the opposite.
That's what happened.
Aidan Gillen, who you'll remember as Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Playing Littlefinger.
Yeah, basically what he was doing. Littlefinger with the air. He's playing Littlefinger / Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Wu with the. I'm glad they only put him as George in this film and in the IMDb, and not what they were calling him in the film, which was Kung Fu George, because that's not racist.
I completely missed that. They called him Kung Fu George.
Nigga, yes.
Yeah, I slept. I was asleep.
Yes, Kung Fu George. Kingsley Ben-Adir, who I'm only mentioning because he reminded me of Broke Down Drake. Like, the entire time I watched this film, like,
the light skinned dude.
Did they put?
Yeah.
Is this who you get when you can't get Drake? So, oh god. All right, listen. Surprising nobody. This film was fucking terrible. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's horrendous.
I don't know. King Arthur's Shadows of Mordor really let me down as far as a film that Guy Ritchie seemed to really want to do. While I was watching the film the whole time, I just kept thinking, when they come to you and they go, we want to do another King Arthur film, this film has to be your response. It has to be one of them, because there is nothing new you can do with a King Arthur film. There's nothing great you're ever going to do with a King Arthur film. And you might as well just do whatever the fuck you want to do with a King Arthur film. So I expect the next King Arthur film to take place in space and have dinosaurs and shit. Because it just doesn't make any fucking sense that people coming to Hollywood with King Arthur scripts and they keep going, why not make another one? Give us another retelling of King Arthur's story, but this time use Charlie Hunnam, who for some reason is from the UK and in this film has a broken UK accent. Has he been playing Jax Teller so long he forgot how to sound like home?
Like, I had to ask. I was like, wait, is he American? Because, like,
he's not.
You're not. So why is your accent so bad? Like, I've never seen, like why is it so, like, why is your English accent so, like, that is not
you
good.
Want to know why? I'll tell you why. I've actually seen, I completely forgot that Charlie Hunnam is from the UK. And the reason I forgot is because he does bad accents so badly in film. The only accent he ever mastered was trailer trash white motorcycle rider. That was the only thing he ever mastered. And he did it for 7 seasons, and he did it flawlessly, right? To the point where you really thought he was from the States. And then they did the series wrap-up show where they sat down and they talked to him, and he got to be himself. And that was when I first heard his actual voice. And I was like, holy shit, he does not sound like he could ever grow a beard. And that is why Charlie Hunnam does not use his real UK voice in these films, because fuck all the chiseled and the 2% fat on his body and that fucking beard that makes women cream pie when they see him on screen and they just be ready to run up and hug his 6'1" ass. Once he starts talking in his actual UK voice, the weakness just flows right out of it. He looks like he should be in a tightly fitted suit, attending a gentleman's club, drinking a daiquiri out of a wine glass. That is what his UK voice sounds like. It's very like dapper. It is not the rough, grungy actor that we have all come to endure.
I like how we had different versions of the same thing, because it's not real acting. I'm sorry, it's not.
So he has to talk like Jax Teller to fit his whole stature that he has created in Hollywood. He can't use the voice his moms gave him. He can't use it in these films. He can only use that voice when he's trying to sound rich. And it just would not have worked in this film. So that is why you get Jax Teller. That's why you get that in this film. It's so bad.
Yo, dude, you know what the funny thing about it is? You mentioned you might as well keep going with it and do King Arthur in space. And I was about to laugh. I was like, yo, hey, yeah, why not? I mean, pair it with the Transformers, right? And then I realized that that's literally what they're doing in the next Transformer movie.
Like Michael Bay already beat him to it.
I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. That is what the fuck they're doing. That is literally the plot. And that's the problem with the King Arthur movies are. That, as much as we say, hey, they keep doing these movies, they keep doing King Arthur movies, there actually aren't a lot of King Arthur movies that come out. Like, the last major one was really that Antoine Fuqua one from 2004. There's a bunch of ones in between that you've probably never really heard of or seen. But the last major one was this film. But they're never done well enough. So anytime they do one, it's like, damn, why do they keep doing this shit? Like, they're done that poorly. They do a lot of King Arthur stuff, like in TV shows, like, again, or as small plot lines in bigger movies, like Transformers doing a small plot line with it. I know in Legend of Tomorrow on the CW, they had a King Arthur storyline at one point. They do it that way, but they just don't do like singular films. So, hey, I understand. Hey, you can get Guy Ritchie. You're going to do this film. You're going to put your spin on it. Like, it could have been done well, but none of this adds up to this film. Like, I was saying this, I think we said this when we were walking out of the theater. What you get here is basically a series of, instead of being a full-length film, it should be a series of short trailers and music videos. That's it. Like, that's all this is. There's no actual film here. Like, I like Guy Ritchie films. Like, when I went back and looked at the last 3 films he's done, it's been 2 Sherlock Holmes. Huh? No, he didn't do Spy. He didn't do Spy. You're saying Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I'm thinking of the other guy that does.
Yeah, you're thinking about I think Paul Feig. I think that's his name.
That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Paul Feig.
Yeah, yep. But he did Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I like that film. I enjoyed that film. And then he also did the Sherlock Holmes film. But you know what I realized what it was? The difference between, and that's why it almost feels like this was like contractually obligated for him to do, because none of the stuff that's in those other films that make those other films work is in this film. Like, there's absolutely, beyond the surface, there's no depth to any of this film. Not only that, but the difference between that film, those other films, and this film, and I'm saying this in my as I was writing the review for this, I figured this out. In Man from Uncle, you have Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill. They play off of each other. In the Sherlock Holmes films, you have Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law playing off each other. Forget the plot. Forget about everything else with those films. The core of those films are those tandem actors. In this film, in this film, they follow the same formula, except Charlie Hunnam has nobody to play off against. None of the characters they set up for him to play off against are consistent. They're there for maybe like a couple scenes here and there, but there's no dynamic duo in this film at all. And he is not charismatic enough to carry that off by himself.
That is not true. There is a dynamic duo in this film. It is Charlie Hunnam and Charlie Hunnam. Okay. Because most of the time in conversations where he's talking to a group of men, he's really only talking to himself to hear himself.
Valid.
Think of every conversation he had where he explained shit. It was like a bad argument in the Sherlock Holmes films, or a bad breakdown of some shit that happened in Ocean's 11 that they were explaining a story to a group of people, like, but recreating it, or some Usual Suspects type shit. And at the same time, it was also a bad rip of old boy from Ant-Man. Retelling one of his stories, because Charlie Hunnam would do the voices of the people talking when he was explaining shit to him.
But he can't do voices.
But
he can't change his voice to do voices. So it wasn't even funny like Louise, like Michael Pennis was. It's not even funny like that. It's just
he couldn't do a good Penna at all. Like Penna that the fuck out of Ant-Man. Charlie Hunnam the shit out of this, and it's just bad. He's just like, so you're gonna tell me that you're gonna come up to me, and then you're gonna the only way he changes his voice is when he forgets to do his UK accent again, and that's just him forgetting to do his UK accent again. But he's like, he's gonna tell me to come do this, and then he's gonna do this, and he's gonna say back to you, well, what am I supposed to do? And then you're gonna say, well, I'm supposed to do this, and then we're gonna be like, and that's what he does the whole film. Every time they need to explain a plan, that's what he does. I'm going to tell you how this plan is going to go, guys. We're going to roll up on him, and he's going to say, where's my change for the matter? And I'm going to say, your change is right here where my balls are. And he's going to grab my balls. And then I'm going to be like, that's not my balls. That's my sword. Die. He does that shit the whole fucking movie.
I'm crying right now because that's literally what happens in the film.
It gets so bad after a while. It's like a bad Jason Statham storytelling. Like, it's so bad, man.
But even Jason Statham, Jason Statham will oversell those stories so that they're at least funny.
In Spy is still classic Jason Statham.
Right.
Because every fucking story he had that was ridiculous, like, that shit was awesome. My arm fell off, and I cut it off, put it back on. You ever had that happen to you? Like, what? I chopped off my own arm and then sewed it back on and went to the hospital for aspirin. Get the fuck out of here, Jason.
But it's like he doesn't. Yeah, but you're at least into it. They try to do this in this film, and it just isn't there.
The audience. Some people in the audience found, because it was so bad and so stupid. Well, they actually found that those entertaining, and to be quite honest, those scenes that are so bad that I'm mimicking are probably the most redeeming scenes in the film, and that's not a good thing.
No, absolutely. I was going to say that. It's like, as bad as they are, they're at least entertaining. Like, if the film is going to be like this, I actually wish they did more of them, because it would have made sense. But that's what the problem with the film is, right? As you go through, because there's one part where he has to go on this quest. Like, they get him, he has to go on this quest to touch the sword, the Excalibur, which they just throw in there. They never give you any of the backstory or any of this stuff. They just assume you know, which you should, but they've changed some things. But anyway, they tell him that he's got to go touch Excalibur on the stone. You go through these like the Badlands or something, and you got to fight these beasts and do all this stuff. And they literally do a quick montage of him going through this stuff. And the reason why that made me mad, because once you see the rest of the film, you go, you guys probably should have spent more time, instead of going on a montage, probably should have spent more time on that quest, because that was at least interesting. like the creatures he was fighting. I mean, he literally goes through all this stuff and comes out like he went through hell. And
I mean, it's essentially like King Kong, but without Kong and
right,
without any king. But it still has a king.
right, and it's
It-
just
It's stupid. It's Jumanji.
right,
It's just
right.
dumb.
And so he goes through all this stuff, but they quick cut it on some. Well, we're gonna just speed through this stuff and show you he did all this stuff. Cool, and you get back and you're still kind of doing nothing. Like it's
Okay,
just
we've both seen everybody listening to this right now. We've seen the Thor Ragnarok trailer, right?
mm-hmm.
And the greatest thing about that trailer is not just the fucking scenes; it's the song they chose, right, to play behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want people to go see this movie
No.
and just have Immigrant Song playing in your head every time these things that we're talking about come up, and tell me it don't fit. Him going through the Black Lands or whatever that shit was, Immigrant Song, the whole scene. Him fighting the dudes through the city, Immigrant Song, the whole scene. The shit where they were showing how good of a thief he was, like his because they didn't want to actually take time to do him being risen from abandoned child to Charlie Hunnam, broken voice actor. They went ahead and they Immigrant Song that whole shit, and they just make it really intense, fast paced, clip edited together, like confetti. It's like somebody hits a confetti button on the production, like say Sony Vegas, and it just pieces all of the shit back together however it wants to after shredding it all up, and they throw it back together and they just throw a song behind it. All of those scenes look like rock music videos, but they're all the same song, Immigrant Song. They're all the same fucking Led Zeppelin song. And it just gets bad after a while. Like, whoever did the production for them, kudos to them. They edited their asses off. But as far as, like, in the film, it was Guy Ritchie's way of going, yeah, they gave us $100 million or whatever to do this movie, or however much money they gave him. We need to go ahead and put these crazy action scenes in here and these crazy robbery scenes. Like, we need to tell the story of King Arthur, but we need to do it in a way where y'all leave enough room for me to have my signature dialogue, Guy Ritchie dialogue.
It really feels like it's just this. When you string it together, none of it makes sense. I think I was talking to Deep about this last night. Hey, I want a King Arthur movie directed and written by Guy Ritchie, starring Charlie Hunnam. Like none of that sentence goes together. And I like Guy Ritchie films. I do. Like, he is not my choice for doing a King Arthur film. And then when you give me an actor like, and again, I feel like I'm harping on Charlie Hunnam. I think he's fine when you find certain roles. Like, hey, I liked him in Pacific Rim. It's a limited role. It doesn't require him to do a lot. He can pretty much just be Jax, and that's fine. You find a role that fits him. Him as King Arthur just does not work, and doesn't, especially when you do not give. And I think this is the most egregious thing here. The rest of the cast literally doesn't matter. I think the woman who plays like his Merlin, her name is literally the Mage. They don't give her a fucking name. She is called the Mage in the film. She's literally the Merlin of this film. They even say that Merlin kind of hint at the fact that Merlin sent her to guide Arthur on this trip, but they don't explain anything about her. She's not giving a name. You kind of piece together that her powers involve her controlling animals, but they never go into like exactly what the limits of her powers are. Like, they don't do anything with her at all, but she's an important piece of his crew. Dimanche, he plays what is his name? Benevere. And again, same thing with him. He shows at the beginning of the film as a soldier who I'm assuming is close to Arthur's father, Uther, played by Eric Bana. And they never at any point, when he later pops in the film, never any point does he even go at one point to Arthur. It's like, I worked with your father. You know, I was close to your father. You were a, like, they don't do the basics of what you would expect in this kind of film, where you get that scene where he goes, you are a pale comparison to your father. I knew your father. You're not living up to what he would be. You're not a great man like him. They do none of that. There is no kind of connection drawn to even form some kind of bond between these characters. This character is supposed to be lead. Like, there's nothing there. Nothing there at all. He has a crew of two other people. One of them ends up having this kid, a Blue, that again, like, none of the connecting tissue matters for any of the characters that are supposed to be supporting Hunam and Arthur. And so when you do that, it's like, well, what the fuck is the point? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this doesn't.
There's no fucking point. And it's a shame because this film is a budget of $175 million. Somebody gave this. Every time they tell us that we are not getting a sequel to a film that deserves a sequel, Dread. And then you see how much fucking money they gave to King Arthur, starring Charlie Hunnam. I did not know Charlie Hunnam was that big of a pull.
He's not.
$5 million pull.
Not.
Man.
That's the thing that's crazy about it. He's not. Like,
Gambit off the ground. And are you seriously?
And look, and I was joking about it with some of the ladies today about how, hey, listen, he's eye candy. Hey, I get all that. Look, don't waste your money going to see this fucking film. Watch the fucking trailer. And that's it. Because here's the thing: you don't even really get eye candy moments in the film. Like, I get it. I get the appeal of sometimes just going to a film because the guy's easy on the eyes. I feel like he is now officially taking over as the can't act white dude who is easy on the eyes guy. He's taking over that role from Channing Tatum. I get that, but they don't even give you that. I mean, at least you look at something like Channing Tatum. They'll give him something like Magic Mike, where you're like, hey, look, I don't understand the appeal of it as a film, but it's eye candy for the ladies. Hey, do what you got to do. Fuck it. That Baywatch film. Look, the only reason why anybody's gonna watch that Baywatch film because you got The Rock and Efron with their goddamn shirts off the entire movie. Hey, I get it. That's not this film. I'm sorry. You can literally watch the trailer. You're going to get all the eye candy you need from the trailer. You ain't got to drop $13 on this shitty-ass film that literally does absolutely fucking nothing. You know,
I don't know. So, you could go watch particular episodes of Sons of Anarchy.
It's on Netflix, isn't
it? more than the eye candy you asked for from Charlie Hunnam with him and his wife, Tara. But other than that, man, like, going to see this, if for eye candy, like Chris is saying, I'm just not seeing it because they stuck him in this film as eye candy for girlfriends getting dragged to see this shit with their hard dick boyfriends who just love swinging their swords around whenever possible.
Right.
That's really all this shit is. And what's funny is when they bring up the production companies and like you see Warner Brothers Pictures, you see Village Roadshow, which typically makes films that are kind of crazy-ish like this. There was one particular production company called Weed Road Pictures. And when that came up, people in the theater like started laughing like that's a goofy like weed, and they started. That's literally how they were laughing, and that's pretty much what you're getting from this film. He made a dick joke. He shamed that guy. Horse. It's just fucking stupid. It just and then he had to introduce Shadows of Mordor, shadow striking in this film. And that is where I lost it. That's where I just checked out. When I realized, because they don't show that with Uther, but when I realized when he put both hands on the controller, he could go into shadow mode, that's when I fucking was like, I'm done.
And for those who know, Shadow of Mordor is a really great Lord of the Ring game that was made for I think the 360, but then they ported it over to.
I played it on the one.
Maybe it's on the one and the 360. I was getting a follow. It was really great. It's a really great game. But beyond just the fighting, the tower that the mages build, that Jude Law's character Vortigern is building, is straight from Lord of the Rings. Whether it's the the second Lord of the Rings film and the last one, or from the video game. The giant elephant creature that's in this film reminds me of the scenes straight out of the third movie, Return of the King. Like, and I get it. And I think we talked about this. Like, the story of King Arthur is used for so many other properties, and there's so many of these pieces that you see in things like Lord of the Rings and so many of the of that thing. I get that. And so it's hard for me to say this, but this film jacks.
Oh my God, Elizabeth Olsen was in talks to be in this film, and so was Idris Elba.
And they probably turned it down for good reason because they know better. But this film jacks from those other things, and I get that the original inspiration for some of these other things came from the King Arthur story, but this film literally has nothing to do with King Arthur other than the fact that there's a sword and a stone and the names. That's it. That's the only thing this has in common with King Arthur. Other than that, it's literally a poor imitation version of a bunch of heavy metal fucking trailers with a Lord of the Rings theme. That's literally all this fucking film is, and it's not even good. Like,
in the back.
You notice there's one person that we haven't mentioned in this film who really is the star of the film and what the film is mostly focused on, and that's Jude Law.
I was about to say, is Jude Law the sword? Because
it's Jude Law.
That sword gets treated like shit in this whole movie.
Oh,
that sword gets treated like it's not Excalibur, dog.
Okay, so we'll get to Jude Law in a minute. This was driving me fucking crazy. They do things with the sword that you would think that you've never seen done with a sword. And what I mean by just simple things like keeping the sword by sticking it into the ground. Like, there's no way the sword is not dull at this point. I mean, the way they treat the sword is ways you've never seen any other fucking film treat a sword.
Like it's not important. He picks it up like he found a big ass stick and swings it at people, and then tosses it back to the ground when he's done with it and walks off.
Like, it is like at one point he literally has a sword sticking in the ground as in the water beside him as he washes his face. Like, the way they treat the sword is so disrespectful.
They treat it like shit.
I'm surprised at no point there was no plot in the movie where somebody just steals the sword and takes it back. I thought that was going to happen. I thought somebody was going to steal the sword and take it back to Jude Law's character Vortigern, and then Arthur was going to have to find some way of fighting without the goddamn sword, because the way they treat the sword is just so goddamn disrespectful. Like, it doesn't even make any goddamn sense. Like, it wasn't important.
Overcomplicated plans ever too. Like, this film is the most just flustered with overcomplicated Guy Ritchie plans
for no reason.
That have absolutely no effect. Like, none of them actually work.
All right, listen. I'm gonna spoil something. So at one point in the film, obviously you're trying to get a slow down with the two Vortigern and Arthur, and at one point they have, and you see part of the scene in there where you see the eagle flying that snake. Apparently that's part of the snake is being sent into the castle to kind of strike at Vortigern when he's not looking, when he's facing Arthur. He's able to swing at the snake and cut it in half, but to get the sword stuck in the pillar. Then another giant snake comes to it was all at this point. I'm like, all that just to have them fight each other. Like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like,
but if that was the case, if old girl could control snakes and animals and such like that,
not just a snake, a giant fucking snake.
That's what I'm saying. Just animals like that, because the film opens with a mage, having control of ginormous elephants.
Right.
So my thing was, the more powerful a mage you are, the bigger the animal you can control. If we needed to just kill the king, why aren't we controlling like rats? Big fucking rats and shit that can sneak up into the palace,
because that's not cool.
The king head off in his sleep.
Because because then we don't get you're now making sense, and doing it any other way would break our shitty ass film and plot. Like, it's things like that don't make any goddamn sense.
I was telling you when we left the theater, I was like, typically video game films don't come out well. It's just not something that people choose to do, because even when you have Michael Fassbender, they don't work well. And God help this Tomb Raider film, because I really want it to work. But video game films have, just a terrible, terrible past. And then you go and see this film. And this film, which was never a video game film, decided to become a video game film and falls victim to the video game film curse. It is the fucking Madden curse of films.
Like it really did lay itself along the train tracks it had no reason to lay itself across.
It's a mixture of Shadows of Mordor and the end battle Dark Souls. But it's shot so bad. The end battle, oh my God, this is in 3D too. Okay. It's some of the most horrendous 3D I've ever seen. When they pull, like when stuff is flying at you in 3D, like little debris, that works. But when they decide to throw whole battle scenes into 3D and they like zoom in on people's punches and stuff, it's all blur motion. It doesn't look, the clarity and the sharpness is fucking awful. It just, it's bad. And I don't know, man, this shit like increased my heart rate while I was watching it.
As a critic, I'm going to say something that I'm going to plead with studios to do. Stop having screeners in 3D. Please. It does nothing. It never helps your film. Unless the film is shot in 3D and you're going to have an IMAX 3D screening of it, do not do this. Because here's the thing. I automatically, even if I don't like the film, I automatically have to knock off at least 2 more points on this film. Like, I'm already going to give a bad score on this film.
I don't know what it really look like.
It's going to be even 2 more points down because I really believe that some of the action scenes, as bad as they were, probably were better in non-3D. And we probably still would have had problems with them, but I wouldn't have been as angry. I would have been angry, but not as angry as I am having seen them in 3D because I can't see anything in this film when you go to 3D. No, like, there's nothing there. Like, it is absolutely horrendous. Like, 3D never really helps you. Like, nobody ever goes, oh, well, yeah, man, if I hadn't seen it in 3D, it just wouldn't have been. No, look, Guardians of the Galaxy we saw in 3D. It's a great film. The 3D did absolutely nothing. It didn't hurt the film. It didn't add anything to the film either. So you might as well not have even shown it to us in 3D. That's not the best.
Wearing ass fucking glasses. That's right. If you want me to screen your film in 3D, here's what I need you to do, studios. I need you to send me a 3D television.
Yep.
I need you to send me a 3D screener. I need you to send me some activated 3D glasses. Bluetooth charged. Or I need them to come charged. And a 3D player. Matter of fact, you don't even need to send that. I got one. Mm-hmm. Got an Xbox. So just send it to me so I can screen these the way they should be watched at home on your 3D screen using your 3D player with your good ass 3D glasses.
Only way 3D works.
About $20 or $30 and are worth it versus these 50-cent glasses that they got me wearing at the theater that are trash on that theater ass screen, which is trash. It just doesn't do anything for upscaling your film and getting you more marks. And I know they're doing it for the audience, but honestly, fuck the audience.
They're not doing it for the audience because it doesn't add, again, at best it doesn't hurt you. Like that's it. Like I said, Guardians, it was in 3D. The glasses are annoyance, but it didn't hurt the film. Didn't add anything to the film either, but it didn't hurt the film.
The only films that should be in 3D for screeners are kids' films, cartoons.
Yes,
that's it.
Yes.
Lego absolutely. Batman, 3D it. Go ahead. Storks, 3D it. Go ahead. It's for kids. 3D is for kids anyway. Fucking adults who get fucking hard over going to see a film in 3D are broken. They're broken people.
It's not.
They never grew up. Fucking Peter Pan ass niggas going to see these 3D films. Logan in 3D is not fucking worth it.
It's not gonna.
Don't do it to yourself.
It's not bringing anything else to the film, and if anything, bad 3D will hurt your action film. So why even do that? And here's the thing: if you're a person that's still going to go out there and see this film, and you decide to buy a 3D ticket for it, I'm concerned because that is an act of self-harm. Because already buying a ticket for this film is stupid, but I know people are going to do it anyway. Fine. But then paying extra to see it in 3D tells me you don't care about yourself. And I'm concerned. You say what?
You going to take your girl?
Right.
You going to spend $13 on this? Then you going to take your woman? You trying to risk it all, ain't you? Like a Vegas nigga when you go to the movie theaters, ain't you? Right. You just going to risk it all. Nigga, here, take my shirt. Right. I'm betting everything.
All right.
Here's my house.
So getting to the one person who acts in this film, Jude Law, and that is not a good compliment, because while Jude Law is acting in this film, I am convinced he overacts the script. He's acting for no reason because the script doesn't call for that thing. It's like there are times in this film where he's putting his all into this. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Jupiter Ascending and Eddie Redmayne and how much Eddie Redmayne was acting in that scene. And I'm like, but Eddie, this film doesn't call for that.
Eddie gave that film his best Fantastic Beasts. Right. I swear he did. And nobody asked for that. But Jude Law in this film, I think, is overacting for an underdeveloped script.
Yes.
Because there's stuff that they ask him to do in this film that his character should not be accustomed to do. Like one being cry or mourn people. Because he's a savage son of a bitch. Yet there are random scenes in this after you see him treat all of the people around him like super shit. Then he has to do some sacrificial shit, and he has a goddamn breakdown.
Fuck it. All right. Fuck it. Because this needs to be explained. And I'm sorry if I spoil the film for you, but it's a King Arthur film, and you shouldn't be going to see this shit. All right. So you find out that he's gotten his powers by making some deal with some creature in the lake. And it's not the Lady Lake. It's something different. And he has to spill the blood of a loved one to get his power. So at one point in this film, he, in order to fight, he's already done it before. He did it before to stop his brother, Uther, Eric Bana's character at the beginning of the film, which they don't hide. Like, they could have hidden it better that it was him that turned into this creature that is the one that fought Uther at the time. They show you that. So for some reason they reveal it early, and then when they reveal it to Arthur like it's a stupid point, but whatever, fuck that, right? So at the end of the film, he decides he's going to do it again. He's got to sacrifice a loved one again. So he goes to sacrifice a loved one again. And I won't tell you what loved one it is. But the problem with that is they never at any point set up any kind of relationship with his character and this loved one, other than the fact that they're related. So, like, he in the scene when he does the sacrificing, he seems so upset over what he does. But I'm like, we've never seen you show any kind of care for this person before. But now all of a sudden you're acting your ass off about how upset you are. The script didn't call for that. The script never showed you doing it. Like, it almost makes me feel like there are massive pieces of this film that are cut out.
I know how to fix this whole shit, though. And this is how they should have did this. And they only needed one sacrifice. Okay? They should have figured out something else to do in the second part when he had to sacrifice again. But this is how they easily could have fixed this. They could have had him go downstairs and talk to the fat mermaid. And he would have been like, hey. Mermaid would have been like, yo, you got to sacrifice a loved one. And he like, for real? And she like, yeah. He like, all right, I'll be back. He go upstairs. He gets his wife. He brings her downstairs. He stabs her. Like, sorry, baby, I got to sacrifice you. And then when he puts her in the water, the mermaid pops up like, oh, shit, nigga, you really killed a loved one. Yo, we was fucking with you, bro. Like, straight up. You ain't even have to. That doesn't even make sense if you think about it. If you willing to kill somebody that is supposed to be your most loved person, nigga, you ain't got no love in your heart. This some shit you would never be able to fulfill. Ain't gonna kill a nigga you really love. You could have sacrificed anything. You could sacrifice your dog. We would have been cool with that. You ain't have, damn, you killed that bitch for real. Oh well, we'll take what we can get. Because the whole concept of you sacrificing somebody that you love to death doesn't work. If you're so easily willing to kill them, you don't love them that much. And they have him do it twice in this film.
Well, I
And I'm
mean,
supposed to believe that he really loved these people. Like he was like, damn, my manhood or my wife.
well, that's the other thing too. They never explain why he needs all this power in the first place, other than he needs it. And I love how throughout the film they have this ticking time bomb of he's getting more powerful. The higher he builds a tower, the more literally the higher he builds a tower, the more powerful he gets. Hi, Lord of the Rings. All right. But at no point, other than making a fireball, the fireball you see him make in the trailers, other than
Fireball.
that, you're right, the weakest fireball. Other than that, at no point do they ever show you him having a lot of power. Because the only time he gets power is when he makes these two sacrifices and turns into this CGI beast thing that fights, Uther and then Arthur later on. Other than that, he never has any fucking power. They never show you with any. They never show him having any of this power that he's gaining from this tower. Like they never make any sense with it, yo. They never show that.
If you to add on to that, if you gonna make a film about medieval times, can you not act like emails and cell phones and shit exist, like instant notification exists in this world? There are so many times in this movie where shit happens and they're like, damn, now the king's gonna find out. And all I kept thinking was, but how?
In 2 weeks? In a month? Like
right, in a fortnight, he might get this information because it's 1650 something, or 1350 something. But dude, y'all acting like he gonna find out in the next 3 hours, like he gonna be watching Fox News and it's gonna be running across the bottom of the screen.
Well, they could have fixed that by having him have this all-seeing power and he gets it from that, but they never established him having any fucking power. Like
that's taking it a little too far now. Like that's legit the fucking eye from the Lord of the Rings.
Well, you might as well. I mean, that's the only thing that was fucking missing, right? That's literally the only thing that was missing in this film is them jacking the eye of Sauron for this shit.
I was actually waiting for Charlie Hunnam to call that sword his precious, because he just kept going in the shadow mode with that bitch, and everything would turn gray, and all these white flames would be going up around him, and I literally thought he was Frodo bagging it.
Just like this film is so fucking terrible, man.
It's not a smart film. It's a really bad film. And what's funny is I think that
dumber the more I think about it, yo.
I think that this actually plays into our issue with Alien Covenant as well. We might need to stop going to these directors for a while until they can get their shit together.
Well, no, the thing, again, the Alien Covenant director this guy is coming soon, but unlike that though, I've enjoyed Guy Ritchie's last 3 films.
I'm not as much of a Sherlock fan as you are. Okay. I did enjoy the last one he did, not the Sherlock films, the last Guy Ritchie film he did.
Yeah,
I did enjoy Man from Uncle. But I'm telling you ass right now, I am shook at the idea of a fucking Guy Ritchie Aladdin movie.
Oh, dude, I saw that and I saw that in the IMDb and I was like, oh God, no. Oh God, no.
I am not ready.
Who are they gonna get? Like,
Aladdin. No.
They just got Charlie Hunnam to do fucking King Arthur, but they're gonna get fucking Vin Diesel to be Aladdin. Like oh God, like I'm fuck this.
It'll be somebody with a beard that's chiseled.
All right. Out of 10, what would you give this fucking film, man?
Seriously, out of 10, it is a smooth 5.5. It is a smooth 5.5. If you want a low ball matinee see this shit at 10 in the morning, be my guest.
You better than me. I'm giving it a solid 4, yo. And
okay, that's cool. I mean, hey, I was being nice,
right? Well, see, I got the 1.5 points for the 3D, yo. I took the 1.5 points off for the 3D.
I'm telling you right now, bro. Motherfuckers are gonna go see this movie, and they're gonna be like, I don't know what Chris Phenom was talking about. That shit was greatness. I'm telling you right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just be like, no, I didn't completely shit on it, guys. I gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
You're playing my role now because that's usually what I do. I can't with this. I'm sorry. I was just no. It is because from the trailer, I knew it was gonna be bad, and it just every time people kept saying, "Oh no, I kind of want to see this. I think it might be good." Like some people have said, "No, you're confusing us. We thought it was Charlie Hunnam, and we kind of like." I'm like, no. There were legit people I saw say, "Hey, no, that last trailer made it look good." I'm like,
Nope.
are we serious?
No, it didn't. Did the last trailer have the run cam in it, where they strap the camera to the side of their face and have them run, and all you have is a wide angle version of somebody's face while they're running? That shit is just not attractive to watch. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Zoe Saldana, old perfectly placed face ass, could strap a camera to her neck and go running, and she would look like a weird fucking alien, and not of the Avatar type.
This movie's not good.
In this film, for effect, they do that stupid shit, and it looks worse in the film in 3D than it does in the trailer, and it makes you feel dumber watching it in 3D than you feel watching it in the trailer.
This film is so dumb. It's so dumb. It's just a fucking stupid ass fucking film.
It's a great like side face run cam is great for YouTube comedy. Like if Tom Cruise was to strap a fucking run cam to the side of his neck, I am all for it.
Oh yeah, if they did that, they do that shot in The Mummy. Oh, I'm all in on The Mummy, yo. Like
no, I'm more thinking Jack Reacher 3. If they just do the whole Jack Reacher 3 every run scene like that, I am there opening night. But not for everybody else, okay? It just ain't worth it. So yeah, goddamn, this movie is gonna go to TNT so fast.
Oh god, it's gonna get smashed by Guardians this weekend. Good God.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, the tracking on it right now is just gonna get smashed by Guardians.
Is it? Okay, good, because it needs to be smashed.
Yeah, this is not a good film. Like, if you're thinking about going to see this film, don't go get a ticket for Guardians.
Hey, was I the only one watching this movie that felt like they was trying to build some type of romantic shit between the mage and Charlie? Yeah. They gave up on it halfway through.
Yeah. They gave her halfway through when they realized they didn't want to give her a fucking name. Yeah.
I mean, this film literally is the end of it, where they show an incomplete round table. It is. That's what this film is.
It really was. My favorite part of that scene is literally somebody goes, "What is it?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, it's a table. What the fuck does it look like? Like, what are you doing?" Like, oh, what are you?
They tried to make jokes out of it though. Did you have to roll it in?
You have to roll it in. Like, he literally has a bench here, and he's literally building the table as you watch him. What do you mean? Did you roll it in here? That's not even a good joke. Like, oh god, like don't stop. Just stop.
I'm actually surprised that words like meme and troll did not make it into this film, because they really were pushing the edge of some of this of jokes in this film, with forgetting that it was a medieval film, in referencing like current vernacular and shit.
God, this film is so fucking terrible.
Like, I feel like at one time, Charlie Hunnam might have told somebody to blow him.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard him say, "Blow me, dog."
Yeah. All right, folks. That's a review for King Arthur Legend of the Sword. You can find the rest of our reviews on mtrnetwork.net. We have changed the network officially. We're over there. If you still put in movie trailer reviews on net, it will redirect to mtrnetwork.net. All the old links still work and everything like that, but just go ahead and change everything in movie trailer to mtrnetwork.net. Same thing with email. If you want to email us, mtrailerreviews@mtrnetwork.net. That is the new email address. Update all your contact information if you want to send us emails. You can find a separate feed for just our movies. Go to, search for Movie Trailer Reviews. That is the official name of our movie and TV show podcast. We're calling it, because it has its own feed. So Movie Trailer Reviews will always go to that when you search for it in iTunes and Stitcher Radio and things like that. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. We have this. We have we'll also have the review for Alien coming up. I know in a couple weeks we'll have we have a Wonder Woman screener, so we'll have that coming out. A bunch of other things. So and I'll have some other announcements coming soon about where we're at with reviewing movies and what we're doing here. So just stay tuned and keep supporting them. So until next time, folks, we are out of here. Peace.
Hey, wait, hold on. I got 2 questions before we leave. Okay. One question. So when he went to the underworld and he made it all the way to the end to touch the sword, and them wolves was like, "Yo, what's good? What's good with this meat, though?" And did he have to go all the way back to the beginning to get out? And second question, didn't he go to the underworld so that he didn't pass out when he put both hands on the sword anymore? How come? But he still couldn't use the sword. He was still like sword impotent after that.
Here's what will blow your mind when you see the film, and you'll understand this if you guys are still listening. I don't think he actually left anywhere.
You think it was all like a dream? She put him in a.
Yeah, because when he goes, that's the entrance, and I don't think his body ever leaves there. It just, yeah, I don't think he actually physically went anywhere. Yet and still, the physical things he went through, happened to, it's very fucking weird if they don't explain it because the movie's fucking shitty.
Hey yo, what if this whole movie is a metaphor about Guy Ritchie's impotence and his daddy issues?
Okay, guys, until next time, we are out of here. I'm done. Goodbye. I am hitting stop on the recorder.
Man, 48, he got impotence.
Oh, god damn it. Until next time, folks, you're out of here. Peace.
Can't get my sword up.